Hey everyone, Bonnie here, and it is the next installment to The Outer Temple of Witchcraft by Christopher Penchak. I am now on lesson 7, which is, oh my god, my mind just went blank. Fire and water. Duh. So it's to better attune yourself with the elementals. So this time it's fire and water, next time it's going to be air and earth. So the exercises were relatively simple. So the first exercise, let me find it, is a wand quest. So the wand is associated with fire, and you just have to find that tool for your practice. And I already have wands. I have a willow tree branch and a crystal wand that you've seen on this channel when I first got it. So I tried to attune myself with one, and I really got to the crystal one because it represents the main chakra centers, and it ends with a quartz crystal point. I actually enjoyed this in a working I did for Yule, so I know that this is my wand. I really like this wand and love the use of the chakra stones. It really helps me align with self for better clarity doing spell work. So I didn't have to go very far. It was already something that I owned, but I rarely used. But this got me into centering myself and being one with the tool that I'm using. The next exercise was fire attunement, and it deals with the physical aspects of fire as well as the spiritual. I lit a candle and watched the flame, felt its heat, felt how it would dry the things around it. Then I pondered my inner fire. And I realized after much thought that my passion is growing. My passion for life, my passion for hobbies, my passion for my kids. The feelings of doubt and self-loathing are slowly dissipating, and my will is taking its rightful place. My fire is no longer flickering in fear and sadness. It's growing in its passion for life. After that, it was a journey to the realm of fire. So it was a meditation to go to the realm of fire. And I decided not to use any tools for this, and just with commune with fire. When I got there, I went into the realm and felt its heat and dry winds. The bushes surrounding me were made of flames. I walked around and felt sweat on my brow. As I walked down a path, I was greeted by a small salamander, a tiny dragon the size of my hand. I bowed, and it bowed before me. It is my guardian in the element of fire. It leads me throughout the realm and shows me the cactus and the blooms that look like flames. I bend down and hold the salamander in my hand. It gives my thumb a squeeze and then jumps down and runs into the distance before I return to my consciousness. So that was my situation when I visited the realm of fire. And then the last in the fire exercises is to invoke and banish fire, and that's pretty much like doing a quarter call and getting used to that one elemental at a time instead of doing them all at once and fucking like not having a real connection. So this was nice because I called fire, and it felt like I had the little salamander in my lap. I could see this little dragon, like tiny little thing with its tail curled up, and it like smoke. It looked a lot like Charmander, for lack of a better Charmander. Yeah, it looked a lot like Charmander. So the next step was to go on a grail quest, since the cup, the cauldron, the grail is associated with water. So this is similar to the wand quest. For me, I was already using a couple of chalices. I have a wine goblet that I put water in for my ancestors as offering. So that one I knew I wasn't going to use, but I had this really old one that I've had for like 20 years. And so where was I? So when I was like 15, 16 years old, we redid my room back in like the early 2000s when everything was moon and stars. That's what I had in my room. My entire room. They even painted my wall with a giant sun as the headboard. So I was all about that dark blue, those golds, and so when I got a chalice, it was that same cobalt blue, that gorgeous blue, and it was glass. And it matches a lot of the things I had. While I held it, I was filled with emotions of my youth and how it felt when I was dealing with so many new challenges and adventures. I know it sounds silly, but this cup reminded me of my motherhood, of when that part of my life first started, how scared I was. I realized how even though I was not perfect, I always did my best. My cup runneth over with blessings. And that's how I felt about it. Then there was the water attunement, and this one was really easy. I attune with water on a regular basis, so this exercise wasn't new. Whenever I need to relax, recharge, reflect, all the re's, I always turn to water. When I take a shower, I not only cleanse my outer body, but it's easy to envision it washing my mental and energetic body as well. When it comes to baths, I usually feel like I'm in someone's embrace. I feel loved in water. So that one wasn't too hard for me because I'm very connected to my water element. So the next exercise was to journey to the realm of water. So I don't know if you've been to aquariums, but a lot of them have this tunnel where it's underwater. So when you look up, you can see all the fish, all the sharks, everything on the side. You're just completely encircled with these creatures. And you got to be like if you're directly underwater, but it's not. You're safe because you're under this canopy. And that's what it felt like going into the realm of water, except that the glass wasn't there. I could literally go like this, like reach up and touch the water and feel the coolness, the wetness. But it really felt like I was in an aquarium. And at the end of this aquarium, I found a pond. So I sat in the middle of the pond. It wasn't very deep. I was greeted by an undine. It looked mostly like a fish, but the torso of a child. It had gills like right behind its ears, and it would just kind of float around my lap area. I asked it if it was my guide, and it jumped in and out of the water like this. Like I said, "Are you my guide?" And it just did a little flip, and then it did a little flip and it waved kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but it did that. And then when I finished there, I went back, I said my goodbyes, we bowed, and I went back into consciousness and left. And then lastly is invoking and banishing water. So this is pretty much the same as invoking and banishing fire, except this time you're sitting with water. And I just used my mind and didn't use any tools that time. And when I called the element, I could feel the little undine kind of say, I felt like I was in standing water, you know, like if the basement floods, in that kind of water. But I could feel the undine that I met just kind of brushing against my feet. It felt cool and wet. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I attune with water so much, but when I was banishing and I was closing the quarter call, I got very teary-eyed. And it's just that water brings so much emotion for me. So that's it. Anyway, the next one is air and earth, and we'll see how we get through that. Anyway, thank you for staying with me while I babble for the past 10 minutes, and I hope you have a great day. Brightest blessings.